My name's Joel, and this is my story. When I was 8 years old, I was in a car wreck and both of my parents passed away. So I was brought up by my grandparents. And being brought up by my grandparents was awesome. They taught me values and they taught me a whole bunch of good stuff. But it wasn't the same as having your parents around. And as a kid, they taught me values and they taught me good things. But I started hanging out with kids my age and going out and just having fun, so-called fun. And when I was 12 years old, I started using marijuana. I started using drugs. I started doing different things. Started living the lifestyle that most kids want to live nowadays, just fun, no responsibility, not caring what anybody thinks, just living for yourself. And that's the way I live my life. So from 12 years old to about 19, I was using drugs. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. My friends were in gangs. I started selling drugs. I got to the point where my life was uncontrollable. In my opinion, it was the best life I could have. But honestly, I always had that void. I always had that emptiness inside. And I was always trying to feel something. And it was something that I couldn't feel on my own. I tried to fill it with money, with friends, with drugs, with so many things that just left me empty. And for the meantime, they kind of satisfied me. But it was always empty. For the meantime, it was good. But after a while, it was empty. And I was living that life, and I never got into depression or nothing like that, but I felt like there was something better in life. Like there was something better for me. So it turns out that some of my friends committed some crimes, and I had to leave the United States due to what they committed. And when I left the United States, I kind of got deprived of everything that I knew, everything that I had. I had to go live in Mexico. I no longer had my friends. I no longer had my family around me. I no longer had the commodities that I was used to. And that's where God began to work in my life. I got to know my dad's side of the family. My dad's side of the family were all Christian. And I got to know my family, and they began to talk to me about Jesus, and they began to tell me about how he died on the cross for me and how he loved me, and regardless of what I did, and regardless of what I said, he still loved me. And I had never been loved that way. I had family who loved me, and I had friends, but I had never been loved that way. Because although they were my family, they judged me because of what I did. But God doesn't judge you. God loves you. God forgives you. So I came to a point in my life where things just had to change. And I made a decision, and that decision was to follow Christ. And it was good. The thing is, the church that I was going to, there was no young people my age. So for a while I lived in Mexico. I came up to Texas after about 4 to 5 years. And I came to Texas, and it's wonderful because I was going to a Spanish church, but one day I came to Calvary. I came to C5. I came to the youth services. And it was something that I had never experienced. It was something awesome. It was a place where I could interact with other people my age and just see how God works. And not only in C5, but I got to know Portico. I got to know Pastor Jared. I got to know all these wonderful people my age, people that they knew what I was going through. And I knew that I wasn't alone. And I just want to tell y'all, if you're feeling the way that I might have been feeling, Portico is a place for you. Portico is a young adult ministry. Portico is a place where you can come and get to know people your age. People who have experienced a lot of the stuff that you have. And maybe some people who haven't experienced what you have, but they know other things that can help you. And Calvary Church is a wonderful place. I was attending another church, a Hispanic church, and God just put it in my heart that it was time to change. So I began to attend Calvary Church. And as I began to come here, I felt like God was leading me, like God was calling me. And a lot of the voids that weren't being filled in other places, God began to work in my life through them. And I just want to encourage you. I just want to let you know, if you need a place where you can feel where you're welcome, the catchphrase, not the catchphrase, but the phrase that they use is, you belong. And honestly, you do belong. You belong at Calvary Church. My name's Joel, and that was my story.